Good morning and happy Monday, September 21st. This week, we are actually jumping to a new topic, and we are going to focus on multiplying multi-digit numbers. Our learning objective is I can develop strategies for multiplying multi-digit numbers by a 2-digit. So you're going to be looking at 3- and 4-digit numbers and multiplying them by a 2-digit. Our agenda over here, let's take a look real quick. You have your start problem that's going to get your mind going on multiplication and finding the product. That's a vocabulary word this week. Product is a fancy word for the answer to a multiplication problem. That word is going to come up so much, so please make sure you stick it in your brain and don't forget it. Then you're going to try it. We're going to make sense of the problem. You're going to try to use any one of your strategies that you know to solve the multiplication problem. I have a short mini lesson that I want you to view, and it's going to review area model and partial product, two strategies that you might like to use. Then last, you're going to reflect, and then you're going to apply what you know. You'll see your materials needed. You'll need your workbook. If you don't have your workbook, it's not the end of the world. You can copy down the problem and show it on your paper. You'll also see an extra credit, and I will talk about your Flipgrid, which is extra credit. Let's get started. All right, your start problem today. What is each product? Remember, product is a fancy word to the answer of a multiplication problem. All right, this is going to be an open-end response. I want you to type each of the products into the answer, so you'll have 6 products. 3 times 20, 30 times 20, 300 times 20. The other column is 4 times 50, 60 times 70, and 50 times 200. Write your products now. Okay, now whenever we start to attack a problem, we need to make sense of it. But right now, if you turn to page 59 in your workbook, you'll be able to use your workbook. If not, pause the video. Write this problem down because you're going to want to for the extra credit in just a moment. All right, let's make sense of the problem. First read. There are 128 pens in a full box. How many pens are in 35 full boxes? First question is, what is the problem about? The problem's about there's a box of pens. One box has 128. And we want to know how many there are in 35. Second read, there are 128 pens in a full box. How many pens are in 35 full boxes? Second question, what are you trying to find out? Well, we're trying to find out how many pens are in 35 boxes. All right, third and final read. There are 128 pens in a full box. How many pens are in 35 full boxes? What information is important? So there's a couple pieces of information that are important. One box, holds 128. I want to know how many are in 35 full boxes. So one box holds 128. If there are 35 boxes, how many pens are there in 35? All right, take the time, remember page 59, and solve this problem now. Okay, now for your extra credit. This is so cool. So if you notice there was another link to a Flipgrid, and you're probably like, what do I gotta do? Well, after you have solved it on page 59, or say you solved another piece of paper, you are going to record a video of you holding your workbook just like this and showing me the strategy that you used and explaining the steps you took to find the product. Product is a fancy word for the answer to a multiplication problem. But that's not it. After you record your video, and there might not be any other videos up, but if there are, I want you to look at the other videos, okay? Pick one to watch, and I want you to respond. You can either record your response or type your response. I am going to be looking for your response. And you need to say, I agree with you because, or I disagree with you because. Okay, so watch that person or watch one of your classmates talking about the strategy that they used, and I want you to say you agree with them or you disagree with them. Please make the most important thing you need to do is say because. Tell them why you agree or why you disagree. This is extra credit. All right, let's talk about strategies. One strategy is area model. I'm going to run through this really, really quick because coming up in just a minute, I actually walk through them. Now, this is also in your workbook on page 60. Look at that. That's amazing. It's the same thing on here. This is called an area model. This is where you stretch out the numbers in expanded form and you multiply each number by each place value. Okay. You can look at this by color coded and see how they pulled out 30 and 100, 30 times 20, 30 times 8. Excuse me, then 5 times 100, 5 times 20, 5 times 8. Like I said, there's a video coming up in just a minute after these two slides that I walk you through that. It's called area model. Another way is using distributive property to find partial product and then adding them. I use partial product in the next problem, but this is the same thing, multiplying by place value. So over here, you multiplied everything by 30 because 3 is in the tens place. Over here, you multiplied everything by 5 in the ones place value. And then we added these two together and you are still going to get the same product. Okay, now that I've shown you a couple slides of how we did the try it problem, I actually am going to run through and model how to do area model and partial product with a different problem. Because maybe one of these multiplication strategies stick with you and you like them. I use standard algorithm, but remember, it doesn't matter what road we take to get to the solution, or if fancy word for the answer to a multiplication problem is product. So it doesn't matter what road you take to get to the product, as long as we get to the same answer. All right, let's take a close look. So my problem today is 182 times 16. I'm going to stick with area model, and then we'll jump over to partial product. I do have some different colors. Hopefully this breaks down the place values, because that's truly what when we multiply is you're multiplying each digit in different place values against other ones. So let's take a look, okay? I'm going to move my camera down so that we can see a little bit better. All right, so area model does start with a box looking like this, because it's going to create an area model that we've learned in 3rd and 4th grade, except now we're going to plug in numbers, okay? So the hundreds, it's going to be green, the dark green. The tens, I'm going to say it's going to be red, and the ones place in this number is going to be blue. You can kind of see it on the screen. Sorry, it's not super amazing. Now, I'm going to actually take this 182 and I'm going to stretch it out. Stretch it out is another, a fancy word for stretching out that number by place value is called expanded form. So we need to throw this number in expanded form. I see that the 1 is in the hundreds. So that's how I get 100 in that first square. The 8 is in the tens place value. So that number is actually the number 80. And the number 2 is in the ones place, and that is just 2. If I was to add those three numbers together, I would get 182. This is expanded form, all right? Now, looking at my number 16, this is gonna go along the vertical end of my box. So I'm gonna use pink for the tens, and I have one group of 10, so there's my 10. And my 6 is in the ones, and I'm gonna put 6 in the green. So I dropped my marker. So basically this problem is 182, which is this, times, where's my black marker, times, that is putting these numbers in expanded form. Now I'm going to write these numbers out. I'm going to multiply this number by this number. So I'm taking my 10 times the 100. I'm going to go back and answer those in just a minute and find the product. Now I've multiplied. Now I'm going to take my 10 and I'll multiply the number in my tens place value, which is the number 8 or since 8 is in the tens place value, I'm actually multiplying it by 80. Now I'm going to take my 10 because I need to multiply this 10 by the number in the ones place value, which is our 2. All right, I've multiplied every single number by the 1 in the tens place value in my other number. Now I'm going to move to my ones place value. So I can put my pink down for right now and drop it on my markers. I'm out of hands, which is kind of funny. So let's look at my 6. So I'm going to multiply the 6, which is in the ones place value, times, I'm in this box, so I'm multiplying this 6 by the 1 in the hundredths place value. So I get my dark green times 100. Now I've multiplied both my place values of 16, which made 16, by 100. I can put my dark green marker away. I'm done with it. All right, now I'm going to multiply my 6 in my ones place value by the 8, or 80, because 8's in the tens place value. And now I'm going to multiply my 6 by the 2, and I can put my red down, by the 2 in the ones place value. Now I have multiplied every single number by every place value. Okay, now I'm going to go back and solve because these are lots easier problems, or a lot easier multiplication problems to solve. So 10 times 100. Well, I know I can multiply the first two numbers, which would be 1, and add 3 zeros. That's 1,000. I'm going to multiply 10 times 80. Well, 1 times 8 is 8, and I have 2 zeros. So I have 800. So do I need 8? I need 1,000. I need 800. 10 times 2, well, 2 groups of 10 is 20. I'm going to circle it. That's an important number. We need these important numbers. Now I'm moving to my ones place value. So I'm multiplying the 6 in the ones place value by every other place value in my other digit that I was given. So 6 times 100, well, 6 times 1 is 6, and I add 2 zeros. Important number. 8 times 4. 8 times 4 is 48, and I add a 0. Important number. And then I add 6 times 2, because they're both in the ones place value, and I get 12. Now, what's crazy is I have all these parts. These are all parts of my multiplication problem. I have to put all these parts together. So I'm going to have a pretty long addition sentence. I'm going to have 1,000 plus 800 plus 20 plus 600 plus 480 plus 12. So I'm going to smush all those together, and it's going to come up with our product of 182 times 16. Now I could line all these up. I'm actually going to add 3 numbers and then 3 numbers. That makes more sense to me. I'm going to add these 3 numbers together. I'm going to add 1,820 together. That's my top. That's my tens place value, right? So 0, 2, 8, 1. So I got 1,820. Now I'm going to multiply everything in my ones place value. I'm going to add 600 plus 480 plus 12. So I get 2, 9, and 10. So I have 1,092. Now I'm going to put those two together because I'm adding my tens place value and my ones place value together. And 1092. I get 2, 9, 10, 11. Carry my 1. 9, 1 plus 1 is 2. Now I could check this if I wanted to with my calculator, and I would get 2,912. So this is one strategy using area model to find the product of 182 times 16. Now let's take a quick look at partial product, right? Partial product is another strategy that you can use to multiply, okay? Now, I'm going to write our problem standing up. I'm going to use colors because if I don't use colors, it's going to come out tricky, all right? So My 1 is the green. I got the 8. I got the blue. There's that. Okay. We're going to need these colors. Times, let's see. Good thing I got my computer here. The 1. And I got my green. 6. All right. So I stood up our numbers and I've colored them by place value. Okay. Now, in partial product, you are going to multiply. Same thing with an area model, except we're standing them up. They're not in a box. And you're going to see the same parts that we have to stick together, except it's going to look very pretty. All right. Last year, I only had one student that actually used partial product. So if this is not a strategy that's the road that you want to take, it's going to be okay. All right. So let's take a look. First, we're going to take our 6, which is in the ones place value. And I'm going to multiply this by every number. So if you think to yourself, I'm going to do 6 times the 2, which is in the 1 place value. I'm going to do 6 times the 8, which is in the tens place value. So it's really thinking of 80. And now I'm going to do the 6 times what place value? The hundreds. That's what I need to do. The hundreds. Okay. Now I've multiplied this place value, the 6 and the 1s, by every other place value in my other number that I'm in my multiplication problem. So I can put my green marker away. Now I need to move to the tens. So now I'm going to multiply 10 times the 2. I'm going to multiply the 10 times the 8, or 80, because the 8's in the tens place value. And then I'm going to multiply the 10 by the 1 in the hundreds. Okay. Now I find all these numbers. I got to actually multiply them. I like to line them up like this because now I know that I've multiplied each number by each of the place values. All right, 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 8 is 48. And I add my 0. 6 times 1 is 6, but there's 2 zeros in my 100, so it'd be 600. I have 10 times 2, which I know is 20. 10 times 80, well, 8 times 1 is 8, and I have 2 zeros, so it's 800. And 10 times 100 is 1,000. Wait a minute, Ms. McLemore. These are the same numbers. Yes, these are all the parts that we found over here in our area model. It's the exact same thing. Mind blown, huh? Now guess what you get to do? You get to add them. 2 all the way down is 2. 1 plus 8, 9. 10, 11. Uh-oh, look. Let's see. Oh, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 9. Carry the 1 and 2. There we go. Look at that. Same product, different roads. It doesn't matter. Use what works for you. All right, I know this video is a little long, but if you didn't catch it in the slides, at least now you can watch me and you understand how to do area model and partial product. Now that you've watched Ms. McLemore explain to you area model, partial product, you saw a little bit about distributive property, and you might have used standard algorithm. That's just standing them up and multiplying them, and you might have put a 0 for a placeholder. I did not show that today. I will tomorrow or on Wednesday, but these are all different roads that you can take to get to the product. Remember, product is a fancy word to the answer of a multiplication problem. I want you to think about what strategy you tried in the Try It. Maybe you watched someone's video on Flipgrid. Maybe it was something that Ms. McLemore modeled. What do you like best? What strategy do you use to multiply multi-digit numbers? Tell me what strategy you like the best and why. Now let's apply what you've learned today. Find the product of 120 times 25. Number 3, find the volume of rectangular prism. That's what we did last week. You're right, but these numbers are larger. Remember, the formula for volume is length times width times height. It doesn't matter what order you multiply them in, as long as you're multiplying these 3 numbers together. Show me that you know how to multiply multi-digit numbers, and show me that you are able to remember to use the volume formula provided on this slide. Problem 4. A library bookshelf holds 156 books. There are 15 bookshelves in a certain section of the library. How many books can a library place on these bookshelves? Okay, I want you, this is also in your workbook. Actually, you can find these problems on page 62 if you want a space, or you can do it on paper. I want you, and I would make sense of the problem. So what is the problem about? What is the problem asking you to find? And what's important information? And then try to solve this problem. Practice that routine that we do in the Try It. Now for your exit question, and this is really tapping in. Do you understand what we did today? If not, what can Ms. McLemore do to help reteach it tomorrow? What is the volume of a box that has a length of 24 centimeters, a width of 11 centimeters, and a height of 15 centimeters? Remember, the formula for volume is length times width times height. Use these dimensions. It doesn't matter what order you multiply them in, and find the volume of this box. All right, nice job today. I know it was kind of tough. We're digging into something new. Keep up the awesome work, and I'll see you tomorrow. We'll